Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is a dramatized, fictionalized retelling inspired by reported testimony in the federal courtroom trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Millions knew Ashton Kutcher as the playful heartthrob, the prankster, the clean-cut investor bridging Hollywood with Silicon Valley. But on a humid spring morning in a Manhattan courtroom, he wasn't acting. Called to testify in one of the most explosive celebrity trials of the century, one that charged Sean Diddy Combs with sex trafficking, organized abuse, and more, Kutcher stepped into the witness box not as a star, but as a man unraveling. The courtroom buzz fell silent. What followed stunned everyone. Ashton wasn't just there to deny involvement, he was there to confess to a truth long buried in the shadows of Hollywood. The tension was unmistakable, even in a case already riddled. With disturbing revelations, something shifted when Ashton took the stand. Gone was the polished, smiling figure of entertainment law. This Ashton looked hunted, sweating under a tight collar, eyes darting like he was searching for a way out. But there was none. Not this time. The media had speculated for weeks that his name would surface. Photos, business connections, parties. It had all resurfaced in the wake of Diddy's arrest. His PR team worked tirelessly to scrub timelines and clean digital trails. But no amount of spin could erase the evidence prosecutors now held: emails, logs, security footage, and perhaps most damning of all, videos seized from Diddy's estate. With Kutcher in the frame, the first image displayed was grainy, Kutcher at a 2009 white party, shirt unbuttoned, drink in hand, laughing. "Yes," he admitted quietly. "That's me." He identified the event, Diddy's infamous white party. That was just the beginning. As testimony continued, Ashton's carefully guarded public persona unraveled. He began slowly, voice steady but laced with a tremor. "I was friends with him," he said of Diddy. "I looked up to him, but there were things I saw. Things I ignored." He outlined the origins of what came to be known as the New Hollywood Rat Pack: himself, Diddy, Danny Masterson, and Wilmer Valderrama. At first it was all parties and brand collabs. Then, he said, it evolved into something more. It became curated, he noted. There was a shift, from parties to experiences, from entertainment to control. The prosecution asked the obvious: did he ever witness criminal acts? Ashton paused. "I didn't know what I was seeing back then. That's what I tell myself. But I know better now." He described Diddy's events as layered, front-facing glamour but with a darker underbelly. Phones were confiscated, NDAs were signed, guests were funneled into separate rooms. "I signed NDAs too," Ashton admitted. "Everyone did. I thought it was standard." Then came the audio recordings. A party in 2013. Ashton's voice captured, saying, "I don't think we should be filming this." A response: "Relax, they signed already." When asked who he referred to, Ashton hesitated, glancing toward Diddy at the defense table. "Guests," he finally said. "Some were models. Some weren't, but none of them really knew what was about to happen." He recounted the infamous yacht party in 2012. "Diddy brought out a group of women. They'd all signed NDAs. I laughed. I shouldn't have." He spoke of the tightening grip around the inner circle. Masterson grew more paranoid, Valderrama more distant, and Ashton began hearing whispers, rumors that no longer felt like gossip. When asked about freak-offs, a term long speculated about in anonymous online posts, Kutcher's face tensed. "It's what Diddy called certain events. Phones taken, guests blindfolded. It was sold as performance art but it wasn't." He recalled his first freak-off in 2005. "I brought a date. Within 30 minutes, I regretted it. I saw things. People being led away. Hidden cameras, rooms you couldn't enter unless tapped." One document from a seized laptop showed Ashton's name labeled green light, access granted. "I didn't know what I did to earn that," he said, "but I knew it meant I could go anywhere." And yet, he stayed. "I had a brand. I was making millions. You don't rise in Hollywood without learning when to shut up." He described how those who asked too many questions disappeared from the guest list. There was a blacklist, everyone knew. You don't cross Diddy. Then came his chilling recollection. In 2014, Ashton tried to back away. I told Diddy I was done. He told me, you don't quit. You're in or out, forever. That same week, 3 deals mysteriously collapsed. A friend warned him, you made someone nervous. Kutcher said he realized then, it wasn't just about parties, it was a system, a network. Recess was called, but no one moved. The weight of what Ashton had shared hung thick in the air. And it wasn't over. When court resumed, the focus shifted to finances, the invisible engine that powered the glitter. Ashton had long been hailed as a tech investor genius, but under questioning, a pattern emerged. Many of his investments overlapped with entities tied to Diddy's network. I got introduced to founders, fund managers. Diddy had doors most VCs couldn't open, he explained. Clubs were fronts, lifestyle brands were shell companies, blogs doubled as data collectors, surveillance, recruitment, all disguised as entertainment. One investor's name came up repeatedly, an anonymous figure who funded several Kutcher ventures and was later linked to Combs' overseas accounts. Wire transfers labeled event services often matched the dates of infamous gatherings. Ashton admitted he signed deals he didn't fully understand. They told me it was to protect IP, he said, but maybe it was to hide the real money. Asked why he didn't investigate, Ashton looked down. Because the money was good. Because I didn't want to be the guy who asked questions. He detailed an app he backed, a nightlife tool that quietly harvested user data. I didn't know they sold it. Names, locations, even biometrics. Then there was a pitch in 2016, an app linked to Diddy promising direct talent access. One slide detailed background checks and psychological profiles. That made me uncomfortable, Ashton said. I passed. Still, the damage was done. It wasn't just bad parties, it was infrastructure, he said, and behind it were names you'd see on magazine covers. Over time, his circle shrank. Friends disappeared, not out of guilt, but fear. One friend called and said, you know too much, get out. When Ashton began declining events, projects dried up, PR deals dissolved. I felt frozen out. In 2017, at a charity gala, Diddy approached him. He hugged me, said I'd been missing out, then whispered, be careful what you don't. Remember. A week later, a USB arrived anonymously, footage from a 2012 party. Not illegal, but deeply embarrassing. Message received. Fear dictated his next steps. He stayed silent, tried to vanish, but each time he pulled away, knew. Threats emerged, leaked emails, hacked accounts, lawsuits. I scrambled to protect my name, my family, but I couldn't protect my conscience. In 2018, a call came from a friend. A civil suit was coming for one of the Rat Pack. Don't worry, we'll handle it, they said. That's when Ashton realized it wasn't friendship anymore, it was damage control. He started cutting ties, reworking contracts, moving money, but the shadows followed. Everywhere I went, Diddy's name lingered, he said, and I realized I helped build this. By 2020, he tried to scrub his image, altruistic ventures, wholesome media, postcard perfect family life. But underneath, he was running. When the raids began, he wasn't surprised. I was relieved, but relief didn't last. Then came the subpoenas, headlines, viral clips. One video, Hamptons, a joint party, influencers guided into off-limits areas. Ashton on camera, just keep them calm until we start. His defense, it was a branding shoot, or at least that's what I thought. But public perception didn't care. Endorsements dropped, partners vanished, boards erased his name. Even Mila was furious. She begged me to walk away years ago, he said. I didn't listen. Paparazzi swarmed his home. His kids asked why strangers shouted. I couldn't explain things even to myself. And finally, the courtroom turned to a name that had haunted Ashton since the beginning. Danny Masterson, convicted, imprisoned, but now revealed to be far more deeply connected than the public knew. We came up together, Ashton said. Shared everything. shows, parties, even investors. What the public never saw was how these networks protected their own. When Danny was first accused, it wasn't just lawyers, it was favors, across industries. He described a 2017 dinner in the Hollywood Hills, executives, producers, all whispering damage control. By then, Ashton wasn't just an actor. He was part of the machine. And now he's the one who's helping take it apart, brick by brick, word by word. Under oath, Ashton Kutcher revealed a world few ever saw, a network where fund managers, celebrities, and powerful figures like Diddy intertwined, opening doors even venture capitalists couldn't. He described being brought into an exclusive circle of international financiers, brand developers, and nightlife moguls, who didn't just throw parties, they built entire companies out of them. Clubs disguised as branding firms, investment groups hidden behind lifestyle blogs, all part marketing, surveillance, and recruitment. One anonymous investor tied to several of Kutcher's ventures was later linked directly to Diddy's overseas businesses, with financial transactions labeled as consulting or event services, coinciding suspiciously with secretive private gatherings. Ashton admitted there were shell companies he never fully understood, told they protected intellectual property, but in hindsight, they likely concealed the true sources of funding. He chose not to dig deeper because the money was good, and he didn't want to be the one asking too many questions. The prosecution outlined a timeline showing Kutcher's investments in tech hubs and nightlife apps, the latter folding soon after receiving millions traced back to frozen federal accounts. Kutcher confessed he had been updated about these ventures, but was unaware that user data was being quietly sold. He recalled a 2016 pitch for an app designed to connect talent with producers, which included secretive background checks and personality profiling. Uncomfortable, he passed on it. The story was not just about wild parties, but a dark infrastructure blurring Hollywood glamour with shadowy interests. Over time, Ashton's once tight-knit group, dubbed the New Rat Pack, began to fracture, not due to scandal but control. Friends distanced themselves, whispers warned him, "You know too much, get out." As he declined invitations and distanced himself, projects stalled, PR deals fell through, and executives stopped answering calls. He felt frozen out. A chilling encounter with Diddy at a charity gala in 2017 left Ashton unnerved when Diddy warned him to be careful about what you don't remember. Soon after, Ashton received a USB with footage from a 2012 party, embarrassing but not illegal, making clear the silent threat. Fear dictated his choices. He didn't confront anyone, but tried to fade away quietly, only to be repeatedly pulled back by leaks, hacked emails, and threatened lawsuits. His conscience weighed heavily, especially after learning a civil suit against one Rat Pack member was quietly being handled to protect the group. He started severing ties, moving funds, and rewriting contracts, but the shadows lingered as associates, still revered Diddy's name. By 2020, Ashton had scrubbed his public image, portraying himself as a wholesome family man with altruistic investments. Yet beneath the surface he was running, away from a world increasingly exposed by pandemic-driven retreats and mounting scandals. When federal agents raided his properties, seizing footage and documents, he cooperated fully but remained silent, out of fear for how far the web extended and who it might hurt. The most damaging moment came in 2023, when footage surfaced from a Hamptons party, hosted by Kutcher and Diddy, showing influencers being led into off-limits areas. Ashton's offhand remark, "Just keep them calm until we start," ignited a firestorm that no PR could contain. Endorsements vanished, partners distanced themselves, and even his wife begged him to walk away years earlier. The fallout was personal. His children asked why strangers shouted outside their home, why news trucks camped nearby, questions he struggled to answer. What had once seemed untouchable was now crumbling brick by brick, not for what he did, but for what he refused to see and stop. The courtroom shifted when Ashton spoke about Danny Mastersonson, once a brother, now a convicted felon deeply embedded in their circle. Masterson's fate revealed the extent of the group's power, lawyers, favors, and silencing strategies that protected abusers. Ashton recalled a private 2017 dinner with execs, producers, artists, and Diddy's lawyer focused not on innocence, but on hiding the truth. He admitted managing optics to bury the reality, becoming part of the distraction machine out of fear of public backlash. He revealed the cleanup crew, a system of fixers, drivers, medics, publicists, and legal shields that erased messes overnight, sometimes even memories. There were 3 tiers of silence: hush fees, job offers, and threats. Payments were authorized through his companies to media consultants linked to Diddy's campaigns. By 2021, Ashton began withdrawing quietly, deleting photos and closing businesses. But the past never fully disappeared. Someone always had a copy. In 2022, a chilling message was sent to his wife, a photo of her with their children, captioned with a contract line she'd never seen. Not a threat, but a reminder that the party never leaves you. Finally, Ashton spoke out because he was tired of erasing himself, realizing silence only made him part of the problem. He acknowledged that from the first closed door, he should have walked away, but didn't. He smiled on red carpets and pitched apps while others were hurt behind the scenes. Recently, he sent letters to victims, not to ask forgiveness, but to say, "I see it now." To the judge, he pledged full cooperation, recognizing this wasn't about saving face, but saving what little of himself remained. The courtroom, once filled with celebrities and moguls, was now filled with the echoes of a dark truth long buried. Whether seen as a hero seeking redemption or a man complicit in silence, Ashton Kutcher's story pulled back the curtain on fame's darkest shadows far uglier than anyone wanted to admit.